Welcome to Conversations. I'm your host, Isis, and this is my special guest today. Her name is Rean Fisher of Untitled Enjeanious. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And we are coming to you guys from Cat's Cafe, downtown Atlanta. It's an awesome place. Make sure you guys come and check it out. They have great food, great eats, and and great music too.
Yes. So
make sure you guys come check them out. Now, we're going to start this off and be straight real with it. I've been struggling today. And I'm wondering, like, what do you do when you get to that point and you feel like so defeated? And how do you keep going? Like, what makes you keep going? Or what do you do when you get to that moment? Because me, I feel like shutting down and just like, why is this happening? I keep asking the question, why? And I'm trying to find a correlation as to why this is happening. Maybe I should slow down. Maybe, what is it? The reasoning behind why all of this is happening. So what do you do when you get that situation?
I find a mirror. I used to, when my kids were little, I'd go look at them, or I'd remember something. But now, I find a mirror. And I stand in the mirror. If I gotta cry, I do all the ugly. That's not, I scream, but I stand in the mirror when I do it. And then when I'm done, I'm still standing in the mirror. It's like, you know how you would be seeing somebody and they do all of that and you be like, you're done?
Right.
That's what I do to myself. And when I get done, then I stand there and I tell myself over and over and over again, you're ingenious. Sometimes I call myself bees. You ingenious. What's wrong with you? You do what you gotta do. When I get real low, I'm like, what is wrong with you? But I do it to myself because I've always been told you gotta encourage yourself. I tell my kids that. So I stand in that mirror until I start believing it again.
Wow.
And sometimes I might get in the mirror 2-3 times and I don't believe it yet.
Right.
So I might, but I let myself feel whatever it is, and I try not to ask God why. Because obviously He has a reason.
Right.
The story of my life is a bunch of why? Huh? Really? What? Really? Really?
Right.
And the end of it is yes. And you push through.
Wow.
You don't slow down. You don't stop. If you believe who God says that you are, you continue to be who God says that you are. But who He says you are, to whom much is given, much is required. So if you can't take this little stuff,
right,
how you gonna give you the big stuff? You're gonna fall apart when the stuff come, and you're gonna fall apart. He can't give you no more. He gonna keep giving it to you and keep giving it to you until you can take it.
Wow.
How many times I didn't have food until I had to figure out, oh, you got some food. You better go put that strange stuff together and make it taste like something. But I tell you, a cracker and some ketchup and that be kids.
Yes, you did.
But He keeps giving you that test until you pass it. And then sometimes, see, you have a midterm and final. You got some quizzes, midterm and final. He might keep testing you until He's sure that you have it. And then He can give it more.
Wow. So it kind of just, the things that happen are building us up to prepare for the bigger things. Because they're going to come in.
They're going to come. And if it's someone or something that you're supposed to help or influence, you have to have already been through it. Or how you going to talk to it. And, like we talked about before, if I'm counseling a woman that's been beat, and if I can't speak to that experience, it's only so much of it she's going to hear.
Right.
Being a battered woman, you couldn't really talk to me about being battered and you ain't never been beat. You can't be watching the movie and the girl fall, and why she falling? Because she's scared. And somebody trying to kill her and she running. Your knees will be buckling too. But if you ain't never been in that situation, you don't know your knees going to buckle.
Right.
So you're really not trying to hear nothing from nobody that ain't been there walking in them shoes. So God got to have you walking in shoes. Because He got stuff for you to do with that information.
This is why I have her around, because I'm telling y'all, I was just about done with conversations today. Wasn't gonna happen. But anyway, this is Rean Fisher. She is a noted celebrity wearable art designer. That's what I call her, but I'll let her tell you who she really is.
I am Rean Enjeanious Fisher. I am the owner and genius of Untitled Enjeanious. I am the artist of adornment, and I create wearable works of art.
There it is. Now, tell everybody about yourself. Give them a summary of who you are and what influences your artwork.
Life is a big influence. I draw from everything. I started out following a certain path that I was told to take. Go to business school, work for a company, have a 401k and a pension and da-da-da-da-da. did that, and checked that stuff off my bucket list, but number one was blank. And I didn't know what number one was for a long time. I had done what they told me to do, and I kind of innately knew that if that was it, then I would keep doing it.
Right.
But that wasn't it. And then I went through a lot of sickness. I went through 7 surgeries. I started menopause in my 20s.
Wow.
You know. Wow. I get to stripping. They're like, I'm in menopause. I had the surgery. I got the stars on my
Wow.
You know. So when I got through all of that, and I got back to my good health, then my mind had to follow, and I had to start really trying to put what number one was, because you're not doing what you're called to do. And I left GE in 2005, and a lot of stick came behind that, because it was like, who leaves General Electric? Right. You a senior manager, you da-da-da-da, and it was like, yeah, but that's not my destiny. And then it was whispered to me, that's part of the story.
Wow.
It's more powerful when you say, I left General Electric, than if I was a cashier at McDonald's. No disrespect. But what was you doing when you stepped out on faith?
Right.
I was already up there.
Right.
But I stepped out because I believed something different. And so I started out making denim bags in 2002, and I started out making them like everybody else with the legs cut off, and that wasn't it.
Right.
So then I started disassembling the jeans all together and recreating and creating a bag that's like all patches and okay. And I got bored, and I thought, okay, that can't be it either. And then it wasn't practical. My process wasn't practical. And being a business person, there was a reason why I went to business school.
Right.
Because being a business person, I knew that it had to be something that could be created in some kind of logical time. That's something that could be recreated. It couldn't be only made one of them, you can't make no more. Because I made one, and then somebody says, okay, can you do that again? And I can't do it again? Come on. You did that to make $12. You did that to make $200. You only gonna make one?
Right.
Come on, there's more to it than that. So I had the mind of a businesswoman, but I'm an artist. So both sides of my brain was kind of fighting.
Right.
So then I went on vacation in 2005 to Myrtle Beach, and I was picking up stones on the beach, and my cousin was like, "Ooh, you can make some of that jewelry." And I had met these wonderful jewelry artists at these festivals, you know, and this one man, King Gypsy, he lives in the mountains, and he had raised his sons up in the wire wrapping. That's all he does.
Right.
And he taught me one day. He was showing me, because he's always working, and I learned about work ethic from him. I learned about how you believe in what you're doing because your family depends on it.
Right.
You know, he doesn't have nothing to fall back on. He has to make it. He has to. And that's kind of how I was feeling inside. Like, I didn't want to work a job and do this on the side. This ain't no on the side. This is art. This should be your life. This should be all that you have to worry about. And so he taught me how to trap the stone, and he said everything else is on me. So I went and I had to find what it was that I wanted to create with, and I wanted to use glass.
Wow.
Because in contrast to a stone, you can see through glass. It's transparent. It picks up color. It's more original to me than a stone is. You know, people will say that about a stone too, or a crystal, and that's what they like. But for me, it was glass. It was because I wanted to live this transparent life. I never wanted to feel like I had to be ashamed of anything. I never wanted to regret anything. I never wanted
freedom to be.
I just wanted to be. And when I changed my mind or I cut this side of my hair off, don't be asking me no questions.
Right.
Because I was like that when I'm from Toledo, and I used to cut my hair and do stuff and wear stuff, and they used to be like, and I'd be looking at them back like, really? And I was like that even though nobody around me was like that, and it felt natural. But I was in a place where it was like, you're supposed to be doing it this way. So in my mind, I gotta go. Okay, now I gotta go. Because y'all, really, you should be looking at, I want to go somewhere where they're not gonna be looking at me funny. So I stepped out, I left, I went away to school, I came back, I had my kids, I got my undergrad. I followed what I was told to do, but I was on the side still doing extra stuff. I was still trying to find my way. And when I got to Atlanta in '97, just how I naturally looked, it was strange back in Toledo. But here, people be walking right past me like, oh, really? And I got the I messed around and went to Little 5 Points and places like that. It was like, oh yeah, I can be here for a minute. And I just started finding myself. And I started coming into my own, and I started creating. And having met King Gypsy and seeing how he lived his life and raised them wonderful boys, it was like, that's it.
Right.
I found my calling. This is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to see where it takes me.
And let's talk about your voice. Motherhood. What does it do to you? I don't know nothing about it. But go ahead and tell me. All I know is what I know with my dogs. That's as much as I know it. I know when my dog died, I cried like crazy. So I really did. I felt horrible. And that's as close to motherhood as I could possibly remember being. I know it probably does not at all come close.
It's a little bit. It's a little bit because you care about another. So it's a little something.
But tell us about motherhood for you.
Motherhood. If I was flying on a trapeze, the net at the bottom, that's what motherhood is. You don't want to fall, but if you do, God got you. But it makes you strive as if that net wasn't there. So it keeps you on your A game. When I had my oldest son, I was in undergrad and I might not have been doing all that good in school, but then I had him and I was on the dang old dean's list. It makes you be your best because you have to. Right. Because somebody's life depends on it. Literally. Yeah. That actually means something when you have a child. And having more than one child, that's more than one life. That's more than one person. And they're different. And I don't throw them in a lump because they're two different people. And some of the things that my dad and my mom did with me, I carried on because it made me who I am. And some things I did the exact opposite. I wasn't allowed to jump in bed. I wasn't allowed to ask no questions. I was born in the 70s. Right. So you didn't challenge. Right. They didn't tell you why. And you don't ask why. You get your teeth knocked down your throat. Don't ask me why. So, but I knew from not knowing the whys why I was so confused about who I was. I needed that information. Right. And I still trusted my parents. So I figured, well, if they could have told me the truth and I still would have trusted them, then I could tell mine the truth and they still gonna trust me because I'm gonna be consistent. Right. And if nothing else, motherhood teaches you to do your best and be consistent. Because you don't get to, raising boys too, you don't sell no wolf tickets. Right. You don't tell no boy you're going to beat them if they do something and you don't beat them when they do it. Right. Because you raise a man that's going to be less of a man. He's not going to understand his word needs to mean something. He's not going to understand boundaries. He's always going to be testing the boundaries that he don't need to test. Because he's going to be trying to find out something about you and it got nothing to do with you. He's supposed to be knowing what he wants and which direction he wants to go than spending time challenging you. Like I would tell them when they got older, if you get in trouble, don't worry about, you done got yourself in situations 3 o'clock in the morning and you need help. Right. Don't be worried about getting in trouble. You already in trouble. You better be calling me to come get you. And we'll worry about that later. Right. So I set them up in a way that they understood that their choices were their own. Their decisions were their own. It wasn't, no, mama, can I go over? You're 15 years old. Right. And ask me for permission, could you go over such and such a house? If you know you did your homework and your chores and you've been on point. Responsibility. You say, Mom, I did, you already run it down to me. They run it down, Mama, I did da-da-da-da. Can I go over my friend's house? All right, be back at. Right. And it made it easier on me to be a mother because I had equipped them. I didn't repeat myself as much as possible. I hate to hear my sound of my voice, especially when I'm saying the same stuff again and again and again. And I used to tell them, I'm not talking to you because I like the sound of my voice. I don't need to run your life. I need you to run your life. So now that they're young men, they have aspirations. They have an idea of what I want to do. They get the Obama speech all the time. I'd be like, do you know that his mama knew he was Obama? You look at me like, is she? Yes, like Mary so knew Jesus was Jesus. Right. You better do something.
Don't turn that water into wine. He's like, it's not my time yet. Boy, what I say?
Okay, I'm your mama. I know these things.
I already know.
Yeah. And he did it. And I tell him too, I can't believe it more than you believe it. I can't. I can believe it till I'm blue in the face. If you don't believe it, it's not going to happen. And they see me and how I'm living my life, and I completely believe in what I'm doing. Even when I fail, like how you felt today, many a day, I don't hide my tears from them. I show them to them because I need them to understand this is going to happen. Right. You're going to get challenged. Right. Don't fall apart. Right. You feel what you're feeling. All right, you all right? Get over it. Get over it. Shake it off. Man up. Say it with your chest. And then we laugh. We don't get no attitude. Yeah. And and we get past it. Because life gotta go on. God got stuff for us to do. He don't need us to be stuck right here. And it get hard sometimes. Especially when you're doing everything you're supposed to do.
Or that you think you are.
That you, yeah.
That you think you are. We try.
Yes. We for real.
We try, but we fall short. But we definitely think that we're doing everything that we can. And it can get difficult.
Turn your radio out, where the praises never stop. Learning laughter, so much fun. This show is for everyone.
IHearThatGirl.com, the premier website for all women. Fashion, inspiration, entertainment, and more. Log on today. www.IHearThatGirl.com.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. And they stay there, and they say yeah, and they stay there. 'Cause all I do is win.
How does those experiences shape you and mold you? Because you're not done. You're still developing. So how do you take those experiences and to push you forward into this person you're becoming? How do you do that?
I accept it. Because I had a hard time with acceptance for a long time. You know, when you, like you say, if you're doing everything you think you're supposed to be doing and it's not working out, you're like, really? Really? That's my favorite word. When you get like that, I'll be like, really? I can't even pray. I just really.
Yes.
I can't cry. I can't pray. I can't. I mean,
you're trying to add it up. You're trying to figure out,
and it's not making no sense.
Is not making sense.
It's not making sense. But if you accept it and understand to whom much is given, much is required, and you really believe that God has a higher purpose for you, then you get that you gotta go through this stuff. You know, because I wasn't the person that was irresponsible with money, but yet I've had my lights off, my phone off, my water off, my gas off, the furniture's broke, my house went in foreclosure. I've been evicted a couple of times. But yet still, I was still striving. I still got up every day. I wasn't a lazy person. I wasn't getting over on nobody. And stuff was still happening. And I was asking God, why? And then it hit me. You're ingenious. I got something for you to do. It ain't just making jewelry. You're going to touch lives. Okay, so how? Really? Okay, how? So then I think back to the things that happened to me, and I think, okay, well, why would you have been physically abused? Well, maybe it's some woman, and they've come to you.
Right.
They be finding you in the grocery store and come up to you and say stuff to you. You know, and you like,
they're just drawn to you.
Just drawn. You know, sometimes it's my jewelry, sometimes it's my spirit. And I had to accept. That's what God has for me. When they come to me, what you gonna do? You're gonna give what you have, even out of your need. If you don't have the $2 and they come and they ask you for what you got, if you know you can't do much with that $2, you only give it to them. I give you one, I'm gonna keep doing it with $1.
I can manage something with you.
Right. So I'm gonna give it to you because obviously you need it more than I do. And you trust that God's gonna give it back to you. When you need it, He's gonna give it to you, and He always does. It has to be, you have to have faith. Have to have faith in God that what's happening to you is supposed to happen, and there's something for Him to teach you, and you learn from it. You have to accept the test. Like I say, quizzes, midterms, final.
Right.
You got to do all of them before He say, okay, when you go to school, you don't take one test and you're done.
Right.
You take several tests. You study. You go back to it. You prepare. Yeah.
Right.
And then when you get that final and all those test grades all together and say you pass, then you go on to the next class. But you have to accept that that's what it is. And it's not always when you're sitting in your car because you done got evicted. Okay, really? This is really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And then you have to believe, well, yeah. Because then in what, an hour, 2 hours a week, 2 days, whatever, you're out of the situation.
Yeah.
And you can look back and say, I made it through that.
Wow. Now that's good talk for somebody, because somebody going through that and wonder, and for you to be able to say, you know, I'm just listening to you and I'm hearing the experience make you wiser. you know, for you to be able to say in 2 hours, an hour is going to be over? Because not too long ago, I remember telling somebody that of something that I went through. And so when they asked, well, I can't take the pain, I can't take how this feels, and I said, well, you know what? Only thing I can tell you is that it'll be over soon. It's not going to last forever. And when that good comes, it's going to be so sweet. Because you had to take that bitter. Yeah. That bitter going to make it so much sweeter. So okay, we're gonna wrap up, but how do we, to our young sisters, you know, I hear that girl's all about empowering our sisters. What is it that you would leave as a legacy for our women? What would you want them to take on for generations?
I love that word. First and foremost, know that you have God don't make no mistakes, ain't no coincidences, it's all in divine order. But first and foremost, believe that you have a legacy. Because it takes some of us a lifetime to even understand that we do have a legacy. We do have a gift. There is a reason. Some of us don't even get that. So first and foremost, own the fact that there's something for you to do. Second, believe. Because you could be, Obama could have been knowing I'm supposed to be the president and not believe it. Right. Therefore, how he gonna take the actions towards making it happen and he don't even believe that that's really who he is? So I've mentored kids whose mothers told them. I mentored in the hood where you're supposed to mentor. Where they bump all of that over here in the rich. Now, you know, not to say they don't need no mentor. But it's some kids that really need, and that's where I mentored at. And I've been told by 8th graders that whose moms told them, that's unrealistic, you can't be no lawyer. I ain't got no money to send you to college. Yeah. And I'm like, you don't need no money to send you to college. You're the one that can go to college for free. Right. And they looked at me like, Scooby-Doo, like, really? I'm like, yes. And then some of it was just flat out jealousy or hate or whatever that they didn't get to do it. And you got to call it what it is. Right. I would give them my business card and I would tell them, you tell your mom to call me because I said that. Wow. I said this to you and I'm taking responsibility for what I'm saying to you because you can't be listening to that. Right. A hater is a hater is a hater. And if you got to put your mama in a hater category because she's speaking death and destruction and failure into your life, then you're going to have to turn her off. Because I'm sorry, you don't owe your life to somebody that's taking it down to nothing. Right. You got to turn it off. And it's hard because when you got influential people that's close to you, speaking destruction and death and failure into your life, that's what you're going to believe. Because you're going to think that they're not going to tell you nothing that ain't true. Right. Just like I tell my sons that you can do anything you want to do. I don't care what it is. Right. If that's what you're going to do, let's get to doing it. But they believe it. They've heard it their whole lives, even if they're intimidated by it. Because they're going to be intimidated by it. Right. They're going to be like, we about to move to California. I know my baby boy like, yeah. But then when it starts time to pack, I know he'll be like, woo, okay. You sure, Mom? Right. Yes, I'm so sure. And we're not going to worry. But they have it every day. When you don't have it every day, or there's nobody around you that's doing it, you can't worry about none of that. Find something or somebody that you can latch on to that's going to give you that. Find you a mentor. Find you somebody that's going to speak life into you. And hold on to that person. Don't be afraid to call that person when you're having a moment. Right. When you be doing all of that, you better get to dialing 678. What? You already know what it is. Oh, you know I will. You already know what it is. Because the people that's truly want it for you and believe in you, they're going to be there for you. Right. But only hold on close to those people. Because if I don't know nothing else, it's going to be more people that's going to tell you can't. And you can't believe it. You got to believe what God is saying. God lives in here. And he tells you every day, all day, who you are. If you don't believe it, he can't do nothing else for you until you believe it. Because it's got to be in your thoughts. It's got to be in your actions. It's got to be on your tongue. It's got to. Awesome stuff. Rean Fisher, Planet Enjeanious. Where can they check you out at? PlanetEnjeanious.com. That's Planet ENJEANIOUS.com. All right, man. Make sure you go support this lady, awesome artist in all her artistry, and stay tuned for more conversations.
On the next Conversations, I chat with Antonina Griffin.
hear a lot of people say, well, when one door closed, go to the next one. But that's not the case. Doors closed in my face and I had to kick them down.